Hi, this is Levi Costello. I'm doing another report on the quiz app. Sorry, this is a bit late, but still turning in. Got it in close to on time. So as you can see, all the videos and are all completed right over here, and allow me to introduce you to the app that I have. Now, I was running into some problems, so a lot of it is was copied from the other assignments, but was able to follow through and figure out where things were, just so I can get the errors and kink them out and stuff. A lot of the errors I had were just simple like misspells and stuff like that. But with the edit app that I have, with the app that the error app, whatever it's called, that checks for errors on your code. That one is not very specific sometimes. So I was working with the best I can, but overall I was able to get everything. Everything's my work. Everything's done. Everything's complete. With the index thing, with React Navigation, I was running into some issues. One of the reasons why I was turning late, I was able to figure out with React Navigation Stack runs create stack navigator, and the React Navigation runs create app container. I had them both running in React Navigation Stack and was wondering why I was freaking out, but I got fixed up in the meantime. With that said, allow me to explain a little bit how the app is organized. So one thing I like about this is that it uses multiple files and imports them all into the same thing. It's kind of like what we did in Java when we're using multiple files to organize everything into specific categories to help it not be one entire giant list. So that's really good and makes it very organized. So the index is the main file. It's like the main file that calls everything else, and everything else is imported. So the way how the index is set up is that it imports information from quiz index and quiz as well, which are these two files. And quiz index is the one that calls information from row items. So what this is set up, so this is index is kind of like the main hub, and the main hub in which all the sites are organized. And I'll show when I show on the app. So it presents quiz index, which then links to quiz, and then it also shows the display for quiz. So this is what sets up the two different main things are going to be shown. There's a total of one, two, three, four screens that are showed, which is the main screen and then the three quizzes. And this is how it's organized. So when it calls quiz index, it'll go to here and it'll set everything up. So this one imports. So quiz index is basically the main hub, which links to each quiz that you can pick. Each quiz is imported from their own separate files accordingly, which are in the own app folder that I have. And then we use a scroll view to scroll down, up and down along the different things. We have the name, the colors separated, and we have the different titles and what's tiles, the type of file it takes in, and the color that represents it. And this is just organizing the different. This is just organizing into the three quizzes. It calls in row item, which is imported, and row item is right here. What row item basically does is it formats and designs the layout of the main page or the hub where you're going to select all the different quizzes. That's why when here you have the touchable buttons, making it a button each row, and then the view style, which sets it as a row and a background. Excuse me. Going back to quiz index. Go back to index. After quiz index and one of the buttons is pressed from the row items, it'll go to one of the quizzes that is selected, and this is where all the main information is set up. Where, despite the organization, it goes into the different questions section, and now this will set up the different questions that are shown up and how to answer it. Now, the key thing about this is that you have the state, which sets which sets the questions that you're looking at, the correct counter, the active question index, and then answer if it's correct. Answer is correct or false. If it's correct. And the reason why you want to check if it's correct, because you have a counter at the bottom that's going to set up a display that every time you get a correct response, it'll increment and keep going up. I'm talking very fast. I need to slow down. Sorry about that. So the increment will increase as you get correct answers, and it won't increment if you get an incorrect answer. Though the thing is, there's only 2 questions per quiz, but it keeps going back and forth between each one, and no matter what you get. So it will basically infinite loop. And that'll be something I want to fix when I update this app, is where I set it up so when you clicked it twice, it'll just go back, and then it'll give you a score at the bottom on the main hub for each quiz, and then it'll also give a reset button, which resets all the values back to normal. So, with that being said, going back to this, the answer section gives you checks if the answer that you selected is true or false. Next question basically sets up so that way you can go to the next question after you complete the first question on the quiz. It goes to the next one. Also, when we go about these quizzes, it's going about this layout, which is an array that takes an ID number and a text. So we're checking through these IDs and texts, and we're also checking if there's a value that says true. If the value says true, then no. If there is no value, then it's set to false. So that's what we're checking for, and we're swapping in between arrays when we are answering the question, just so that way you guys can get a visual of that. Other than that, it's more just styling visuals, and that's basically how this app is set up. Now, allow me to show you what it kind of looks like. So hopefully I'm showing that for you real good. So these are ways, as you can see, you can scroll it up and down with the scroll view that I showed in quiz index. You got space, you got Western, and you got computer. And if you were to press this one, it goes to the app. Now, if you just press it, it will give you a check mark, and you see incremented. If you press another one, it gives you an X, and it has not incremented. But if you keep checking the same one, it'll also increment again, so that'll be another thing to check. Where if you already got it right, it won't increment, or you won't go back to that one, and you'll just keep going through this one to make sure that you got it correct. I don't remember which one it is. Oh, there it is. So now I got both of them correct, but as I was saying before, you keep swapping in between them, and it'll just keep going on. And it'll infinitely increment up and keep going beyond the number 2. And this arrow will go back. And once it go back, you can click a different one. Well, I think that was the same one. You can click a different one. Uh-oh. Hello, mother. And you can go to the next app as so. And each one is color theme due to the layout that we set up to each individual button. And that's how the quiz app works. Thank you for your time.